Okay, I don't know if it's just me, but getting students to listen at the carpet can feel impossible, especially in September or January, and especially if they don't know much or any French yet. You're speaking, but to them, you might as well be the teacher from Charlie Brown. Wah, wah, wah. So, how do we teach active listening in a way that actually works? The key is using clear, consistent visuals that students can easily understand and refer to throughout the year. And today, I'll share exactly how I do it in my classroom. Plus, I have a free download for you to help you set this up in your own classroom. I'm Andrea, and today I'm talking about how to teach active listening skills in your classroom. Active listening is an important skill for young learners, but it's especially tricky in September when your students don't understand much French, or in January when they've just spent, a couple of weeks at home, maybe not listening as well as they should have been. Over the years, I've tried lots of different strategies, and this 3-step system is the one that works best for me. It's visual, simple, and builds understanding quickly, so even our younger students can master it. Let me show you how it works. The first step is to co-create an anchor chart with your students. I found that when students help build the expectations, they're much more likely to buy into them. That being said, I do bring in an anchor chart that is partially filled in. I put the title and 4 picture cards that are already attached. I'm going to put an owl, an elephant, a pretzel, and a mouse. And then I'm going to ask my students to help me fill in what each of these animals or objects do that could also help us at the carpet if we are like that. So I am guiding them into what each picture might represent, but we add the expectations in simple language together, making sure they understand each one and they feel that, they had a part in creating this anchor chart with me. So the owl is a visual to remind students to look at the person who is speaking, because an owl has big eyes and we want to have big eyes looking at the teacher or the person who is at the front talking. The elephant and its big ears remind our students to listen with their ears. A pretzel represents sitting properly. So I know crisscross applesauce is a big thing. To me, the pretzel doesn't necessarily mean they have to sit like a pretzel, but they have to sit in one of the ways that are okay in our classroom. So depending on what we're doing, sometimes sitting like a mountain is okay. If they need an alternative, sitting cross-legged, sometimes a pike position might be all right. If we're sitting on the perimeter of the carpet, sitting like a mermaid might be okay. But the pretzel is there to represent, making one of those choices that are okay for when we are sitting at the carpet. That allows people behind us to see, keeps our body in our own space, and doesn't disrupt anybody else. And the mouse, of course, quiet like a mouse. It reminds students to sit quietly and wait their turn to speak. Now, later in the year, I do usually add a picture of lips, a 5th picture at the bottom there, so I leave a little space because the lips are there to remind students to only speak in French at the carpet, s'il vous plaît. Step 2 is to refer to the poster often once it's up on the wall. So once your poster or anchor chart is complete, you're going to keep it at the carpet somewhere students can see it as a daily reminder. I know that bulletin board space and wall space is hard to come by, but this one is important to have up so students can see it. In the beginning, I actually review the expectations with my students every day, every lesson before we get going. And I point to it and I refer to it and I get them to, Mad Libs it and fill in the blanks. And I'm like, okay, on va écouter quand même. And they all say éléphant, etc. But you really, really want it up there so students can see it to reinforce what your expectations are. And, whenever students forget what active listening looks like, then I'll refer back to it as well. So to make it fun, I kind of practice active listening as a group. I would make this be a mini lesson. So I'll be okay, let's start with one behavior. So who can show me that they can sit like a pretzel? And then I'll look and be oh yeah, great job, you're sitting like a pretzel, da, da, da. And then I'll be okay, while you're sitting like a pretzel, who can also listen like an elephant? And then they show me their elephant ears while they're sitting like a pretzel. And then I'll keep going and adding on until the whole group can show me all 4 behaviors at once. It might seem kind of silly and overkill, but especially for our younger students maternelle première année, they get excited to show you that they can do all 4 things at the same time. So let's roll with it and use it to our advantage and make sure that everybody is showing active listening at the carpet. And again, on the other hand, the practice might take a few tries for them to do all 4 things at once without shouting out, being I'm doing it, but it's worth it to help our students build strong habits. Now, part 3 is going to come kind of like, you can start at the beginning if you want to, but when you need that bulletin board space or that wall space for something else and your anchor chart needs to come down, that's where we're going to add part 3 in for sure. So again, you can do this from the beginning, but if at any point that anchor chart needs to come down, then you're going to definitely slide part 3 right in there. And part 3 is to use an active listening necklace. Now, I don't have mine at home to show you, and I think I actually gave it to the maternal teacher at my school to use with her students, but what you're going to do is put on this like wearable visual aid that contains mini version of the anchor chart picture. So just like an elephant, there's a pretzel, there's the lips, what have you. There's 5 little squares that you're going to hole punch them, put them on a cord, wear it around your neck. And then that way, if a student forgets one of the expectations, like you don't have to interrupt your whole lesson to be like, Johnny, sit like a pretzel. You can just like flip to the relevant picture and point to it. Like you don't have to nag, you don't have to call anybody out. You can just kind of like hold it up and be like, somebody's forgetting this. And then hopefully they'll like snap into that pretzel or snap on their relevant ears or look at you with their eyes. And then it's just nice because you're not calling somebody out individually. You're not nagging. You're just like really, it's very visual. You're just pointing and it doesn't take up any wall space. You can wear it. And then you can use this like wherever you are. So if you're walking somewhere in the line and it's loud in the line, you can just hold up that little mousey and point to it. And then hopefully your students will quiet down in line. The necklace also works as a quick refresher. You know, if you want to review it before you start a lesson, but you don't have that anchor chart up, you can just flip through them all and be like, show me this, show me this, show me this. And it just helps maintain a calm and positive tone while reinforcing expectations. Now, my bonus tip for you today is to focus on positive reinforcement with this system. So instead of calling out students who aren't following expectations, you're going to try to point out the students who are. So instead of being like, Jenny, sit like a pretzel, you can be like, whoa, everybody, like, look at Sierra sitting like a pretzel, listening with her ears. I'm waiting her turn to speak. She's doing all of the things. She's amazing. Look at her active listening. And then everybody will kind of like snap to it because they want you to call them out as well. So you can be like, oh my gosh, I'm waiting for I'm so hungry for pretzels. I only have like 5 pretzels right now. Where are my other ones? Where are my other ones? And they kind of jump to it. So instead of pointing out and calling out kids who aren't doing it, if you can positively encourage the ones who are doing it and like get everyone to look at them and be excited for them, that will encourage your other students to do it as well. Praise motivates students to model the correct behavior, and it encourages everyone to do their best. You can also give them like a thumbs up or like a whole group compliment, what have you, but positive reinforcement definitely works well with this system. Now, if you are ready to try this system in your classroom, you can grab my free anchor chart and necklace pieces to get started. The visuals make it so easy to create your poster and necklace without having to draw by hand, which is what I did my first year. It did not look good. So you just print them out, like the titles are there, the little pictures are there, you just print them out, stick them on chart paper, and then like use, your chart paper markers to fill in the rest with your students. But it's very nice to come in with those visuals like already up there. They're perfect for French students who need like clear visuals. My elephant did not look like an elephant, So the elephant picture in the document now looks a lot like an elephant because it is an elephant. So it just really helps to have relatable visuals that everyone can understand so that they help them, remember the expectations and what you are expecting of them. So check the description below. The link to download your free set is in there. I can't wait to hear how it works out for you. Please drop a comment and let me know if you tried the system and if you like it or if you've made any adjustments to it. Thank you so much for watching. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment below letting me know your go-to strategy for teaching active listening. I would love to hear your ideas. All right, see you next week.